Alright, so this won't take very long this week. This is chapter 12, and the only quote-unquote math problems there are to do, so financial planning problems, from chapter 12, page 364, are these three little items. And there isn't much math to these. These are not financial calculator questions. This is not high drama or anything, but since I didn't give you anything from chapter 11 mathematical, and again, that's just because the material wasn't there, I will go over these briefly with you from chapter 12. Quantitative, but pretty simple. I'm thinking this will only take a few minutes. So I'll do all three of these really quickly, but I don't even have my pad out. I'm kind of in an awkward travel spot here, so what the heck? I'm just gonna reference the solutions that we have posted online, and they're on my computer screen right now. So let's talk through this, and just you can hear my explanation a little bit through it, and maybe that'll add something to what's going on the screen. So number one says a PPO uses a discount on charge arrangement. Marie incurred total. Now that's a phrase we didn't have in our slides, but you'll get the idea here real fast. Maria incurred total charges by a hospital of $20,000, and the percentage paid to the provider is 70%. Maria's contract specifies her copay is 20%. How much does Marie have to pay? That's kind of high, that copay of 20% for in-hospital visits, but that's the way the problem's set up. Now, okay, what does this mean with the percentage paid to the provider is 70%? Well, that means that when there's a sticker price, this is kind of one of the weird things about insurance. The sticker price of the procedure is $20,000, but the insurance companies don't have to pay that much. Now, if you theoretically had enough money and you were paying out of pocket, you would actually owe that much. But insurance companies barter for charges, and there's kind of a game in terms of hashing down what the real price is. So apparently the insurance company has a deal with this hospital that the actual amount they're going to pay is 70% of the charges. You can see what I mean by game. This becomes a song and dance where then how much is charged, how much is repaid, blah, 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 blah. All right. And then the weird thing about this is the people who are most desperate for health insurance, at least traditionally speaking, the ones without any health insurance, they don't have any of that bartering power, so they don't have to pay 70%. They have to pay 100% of this kind of thing. So that's kind of a vicious cycle with that. All right, but you get the idea. If it's $20,000 is the charge, the insurance company has the bartering power to where it's only 70% of that. That's $14,000. Right, 70% of 20,000. This is just 20,000 times 0.7, or 14,000. Well, of that 14,000, Marie has to pay 20% of that. So when you see here on my screen, Marie would have to pay $2,800. That's because 14,000 is the actual charge to the hospital. Marie has to pay 20% of that, and that's $2,800. So that's just 20,000 times 0.7 tells you the amount charged to the insurance company. The 14,000, she pays 20% of that, the insurance company the other 80. So to find her amount, it's 14,000 times 0.2, or 2,800. That's not anything crazy there, but that is how that basically works. Okay, number two says Pete's health insurance policy specifies that he should pay 30% of expenses associated with a long-term illness, and he has a stop-loss provision of $35,000 in his policy. If Pete incurs expenses of $70,000, how much would he owe? Okay, well, the stop-loss just means that the most you could have to owe in a particular year is this amount. That's $35,000. Well, this one's really simple because Pete has expenses of $70,000, and he's supposed to pay 30% of expenses. All right, well, that's part of his insurance. So $70,000 times 30% is $21,000. Right, and that's what's on the screen for number two. Now these are the same. These are in your folder for chapter 12, the same way I do every chapter. So Pete would owe $21,000 because $70,000, that was the charge, times 30% times 0.3 is $21,000. Yeah, so that stop-loss provision, that doesn't kick in yet. That doesn't save him anything here effectively because $21,000 is still not $35,000, so that doesn't have anything to do with the problem. Okay, and then finally, number three, there was a couple of little examples. This is like the Stephanie Spratt example at the end of the chapter. Christine's total monthly expenses typically amount to $1,800, and $50 of these expenses are work-related. Her employer provides disability insurance of $500 a month. How much individual disability insurance should Christine purchase? Well, the idea there is that Christine has $1,800 of expenses every month, but she's only getting some insurance, so she needs to cover the rest of her potential expenses to keep her head above water, so she needs the disability insurance to make up the gap. What's the gap? Well, Christine's total monthly expenses are $1,800, but some of that is work-related. The easiest way to think of that as an example is just the gas, right? She's got to commute to and from work, and say that's $50, which she no longer has to spend. So instead of having $1,800 in expenses, if you keep everything else identical, you would have $1,750 of expenses a month. Would you really keep everything identical if you were, bedridden at home with a disability in terms of your expenses? I doubt it. I'm sure you would, pay more for Redbox and pay less for go-karts, but it's the way it is. Keep things simple in the problem here. So $1,750 is the amount that she needs per month. $500 comes from her company, her employer insurance, so that leaves $1,250, right? And that's what's here in the solution for the problem. It says, well, $1,800 minus the $50 of work-related, that means she's got $1,750 to go, $500 covered, leaves you with $1,250. Okay, that's all I got for you there. So we'll wrap that up for Chapter 12. We'll do, it's going to be a little more involved next week, but that's all I got for here. All right, financial planning problems first. There you go. Go ahead and do online homework and quiz. All of them due Sunday by midnight per usual. Okay, see you next time.